Welcome to Limitless Mind. What if I told you the moments you hate the most about yourself are not your flaws but your unfinished lessons? That surge of anger that comes out of nowhere, the sudden sadness, the urge to shut down or explode, those are not random reactions. They are echoes of moments when you learn to stay quiet, to survive, to tolerate, to adapt to pain instead of healing it. And every time you get triggered, life is pressing the same bruise, asking one question: are you ready to stop running? Most people spend their lives blaming the world for how they feel. They say if people would change, they would be calm. If situations were different, they would be happy. But the truth is this: the trigger is not outside of you. It lives inside you, and until you face it, it will keep controlling your reactions, your relationships, and your confidence. This is not a talk about staying calm or being positive. This is about reclaiming power. Because the moment you understand why you are triggered, you stop being a victim of your emotions and become the leader of them. Then the next few minutes you are going to see your triggers differently. Not as weaknesses, but as signals guiding you toward freedom, growth, and self-mastery. And if you stay with me till the end, you may never react to life the same way again. Feeling triggered is not weakness. It is information pointing to an unresolved emotional wound, and this truth changes everything once you truly understand it. Most people grow up believing that being emotionally triggered means they are too sensitive, too emotional, or not strong enough to handle life. Society teaches you to suppress your reactions, to stay quiet, to stay composed, to not feel too much. But the reality is the opposite. Feeling triggered is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a sign that something important inside you is asking to be seen, acknowledged, and healed. A trigger is your internal alarm system. It activates when a present moment touches an old emotional injury that never fully healed. The intensity of your reaction is rarely about what is happening now. It is about what happened before, when you felt powerless, unheard, unsafe, or unworthy. Your nervous system remembers even when your conscious mind tries to forget. That memory lives in your body, in your emotions, in your automatic responses. So when a similar situation appears, your system reacts instantly, not to hurt you, but to protect you. This is why two people can experience the same event and respond completely differently. One person stays calm while another feels overwhelmed, angry, or shut down. The difference is not strength or maturity. The difference is history. Triggers reveal where pain was stored instead of processed. They highlight moments where you adapted instead of healed, where you survived instead of felt. Every trigger carries a message about an unmet need, a crossed boundary, or a belief that was formed during a vulnerable time. Ignoring triggers does not make them disappear. Suppressing emotions only forces them to resurface later, often in more destructive ways. When triggers are misunderstood, people lash out, withdraw, sabotage relationships, or turn against themselves. They believe the problem is the world around them, when in reality, the wound is within them waiting for attention. Awareness is the turning point. The moment you stop judging your trigger and start listening to it, you shift from shame into power. Triggers are not punishments, they are invitations. They invite you to slow down and ask deeper questions about yourself. What am I really feeling right now? What does this remind me of? When did I first feel this way? These questions lead you back to the root instead of keeping you stuck in reaction. Healing begins when you allow yourself to feel without blaming, without escaping, and without attacking yourself for having emotions. True emotional strength is built through compassion, not control. When you learn to sit with your triggers, you stop fearing them. You begin to understand that your reactions are not random flaws, but intelligent signals. Each trigger marks a place where growth is possible, where freedom can be reclaimed, where the past can finally lose its grip on the present. Over time, as wounds are acknowledged and healed, the same situations lose their power. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. What once controlled you no longer does, and this shift does not happen through force, but through understanding, presence, and courage. Triggers are mirrors showing where past pain still controls present reactions, and this is one of the most uncomfortable yet liberating truths a person can face. Most people believe their emotional reactions are caused by what others say or do. They believe anger, sadness, fear, or shutdown is a reasonable response to the situation in front of them. But when the reaction is intense, automatic, and disproportionate to the moment, it is not about the present, it is about the past resurfacing through the present. A trigger acts like a mirror reflecting an old emotional wound that has never been fully processed. When someone's words, tone, behavior, or absence creates a strong reaction, it is revealing a memory stored in your emotional body. That memory may come from childhood relationships, early rejection, betrayal, neglect, or moments where your needs were ignored. The mind may not consciously remember the original moment, but the body always remembers how it felt. So the mirror appears. And suddenly you are not reacting as an adult, you are reacting as the version of you who was once hurt and had no power. This is why triggers feel so urgent and overwhelming. Logic disappears because survival takes over. The nervous system does not care about facts, it cares about safety. When past pain still has influence, it hijacks the present moment and convinces you that the same danger is happening again. You might feel disrespected, abandoned, unimportant, or attacked, even when that is not the intention of the other person. The mirror is not showing you who they are, it is showing you where you are still hurting. Most people avoid this mirror. They blame others, defend themselves, or shut down emotionally. They repeat patterns in relationships and wonder why the same conflicts keep appearing. But patterns only repeat when lessons remain unlearned. Every trigger is pointing to a place where healing was postponed. The moment you stop arguing with the mirror and start examining it, you reclaim your power. Looking into the mirror requires honesty and courage. It means asking yourself what this reaction is really about instead of who to blame. It means recognizing that the intensity you feel belongs to an earlier experience that is asking for closure. This awareness does not invalidate your feelings, it gives them meaning. When you understand the origin of your reaction, you stop being controlled by it. As you begin to work with your triggers instead of against them, something shifts. You realize that the past only controls the present when it remains unconscious. The moment it becomes visible, it loses its grip. Each trigger then becomes an opportunity to respond differently, to choose presence instead of protection, airness instead of defense. Over time, the mirror changes. Situations that once felt unbearable lose their charge. You respond with clarity instead of chaos, and strength instead of survival. The past no longer speaks through your reactions because it has finally been acknowledged, understood, and released, and in that moment you are no longer living from old wounds, but from conscious choice and inner freedom. What triggers you is often tied to unmet needs, boundaries, or suppressed emotions, and this insight reveals why certain situations affect you far more deeply than others. Many people believe their reactions come from being overly emotional or easily upset, but in truth, those reactions are signals pointing towards something essential that has been ignored for too long. A trigger appears when a core need has not been honored, a boundary has been crossed, or an emotion has been buried in the name of survival, acceptance, or peace. From a young age, many people learn to silence their needs to avoid conflict, rejection, or punishment. They learn that asking for reassurance, love, respect, or safety is too much. Over time, these needs do not disappear, they go underground, they wait. When a situation reminds you of being dismissed, ignored, controlled, or taken for granted, the body reacts before the mind can explain it. That reaction is not irrational. It is the voice of a need that was never allowed to speak. Boundaries play a powerful role in this process. When boundaries are unclear, weak, or repeatedly violated, the nervous system stays on high alert. A trigger often arises not because someone did something wrong, but because it touched a place where you have historically allowed too much or accepted less than you deserved. The anger, frustration, or shutdown you feel is energy that was once required to protect yourself but had nowhere to go. Triggers expose where boundaries were never established or never respected. Suppressed emotions also fuel triggers. Emotions that are not expressed do not disappear, they store themselves in the body. Sadness becomes heaviness, anger becomes tension, fear becomes anxiety. When a present moment activates a similar emotional environment, those stored feelings rush to the surface all at once. This is why reactions can feel bigger than the situation itself. You are not reacting to one moment, you are reacting to many moments that were never fully felt or released. Triggers are the body's way of demanding honesty. They force you to confront what you have been avoiding. They ask you to acknowledge what you needed but did not receive, what you felt but did not express, what you tolerated but should not have. This does not mean blaming the past or staying stuck in it. It means recognizing that unmet needs and unspoken emotions still influence how you experience the present. When you begin to identify the need behind the trigger, something powerful happens. Instead of reacting outwardly, you respond inwardly. You learn to ask yourself what you truly need in this moment: clarity, reassurance, space, respect, or safety. This shift moves you from helplessness to self-leadership. You stop expecting others to read your wounds and start taking responsibility for honoring your inner world as needs are acknowledged. Boundaries strengthened and emotions expressed, triggers lose their intensity. The same situations no longer hijack you because the underlying message has been received. What once felt overwhelming becomes a signal for self-care, growth, and self-respect. In this way, triggers become guides, not enemies, leading you back to yourself and restoring a sense of balance, agency, and emotional freedom. Mastery begins when you respond consciously instead of reacting emotionally, and this is the turning point between living on autopilot and living with intention. Most people spend their lives reacting. Something happens, a word is spoken, a tone is heard, and the body responds instantly. The heart races, the mind fills with stories, and behavior follows without choice. This reaction feels automatic because it is driven by the survival brain, shaped by past experiences, not present reality. Emotional reactions are fast because they are designed to protect. They do not ask whether the danger is real or old, they simply act. That is why in moments of being triggered, people say things they regret, withdraw when they want connection, or explode when they actually feel hurt. Reaction happens when the nervous system is in control. Conscious respo? NSE happens when awareness steps in. The gap between stimulus and response is where mastery lives. It may be only a few seconds, but those seconds determine whether the past controls you or you lead yourself. When you pause, you interrupt the emotional pattern that has repeated for years. That pause allows the body to settle enough for the mind to regain clarity. You are no longer fighting the emotion or being consumed by it. You are observing it. Responding consciously does not mean suppressing emotions or pretending you are calm. It means acknowledging what you feel without letting it dictate your behavior. You can feel anger without attacking fear, without fleeing sadness, without collapsing. This is emotional strength, not emotional denial. When you respond consciously, you choose actions aligned with your values rather than your wounds. This level of mastery requires practice because reaction is familiar while response is learned. At first, the pause feels uncomfortable. Silence feels unsafe. The mind wants to rush back into old patterns because they are known. But every time you choose awareness over impulse, you weaken the old wiring and strengthen a new one. Over time, the pause grows longer and the reactions lose intensity. Conscious response also changes relationships. When you stop reacting, people lose the power to control your emotional state. You communicate more clearly, set boundaries with calmness, and listen without defensiveness. This does not make you passive. It makes you precise. Your words carry weight because they come from clarity instead of chaos. Responding instead of reacting is not about being perfect. You will still have moments where emotion takes over. Mastery is not the absence of reaction, it is the speed of recovery. The faster you return to awareness, the less damage is done internally and externally. Each moment of conscious response builds trust with yourself. You begin to see that you are capable of handling intense emotions without losing yourself. As this skill develops, life feels less overwhelming. Situations that once triggered immediate reaction now invite reflection. You become the calm center in moments of stress. This is not because life becomes easier, but because you become stronger, more grounded, and more self-led. When you respond consciously, you reclaim authorship over your life, and that is the essence of true emotional mastery. Healing your triggers transforms pain into personal power and emotional freedom, and this is the stage where inner work becomes visible strength. For a long time, triggers feel like proof that something is broken inside you. They show up as overreactions, emotional shutdown, self-doubt, or anger that seems to arrive without warning. But once you begin healing them, you realize they were never meant to trap you. They were meant to guide you toward liberation. Every trigger carries stored emotional energy. When that energy remains unresolved, it controls your reactions and limits your ICEs. You might avoid certain conversations, stay silent when you need to speak, or repeat relationship patterns that leave you feeling unseen or unvalued. This is pain running the system. Healing does not erase the past, but it releases the emotional charge attached to it. When the charge is gone, the same situation no longer has power over you. Healing requires courage because it asks you to feel what you once avoided. It invites you to sit with discomfort without judgment and without escape. This process teaches your nervous system that it is safe to experience emotion without being overwhelmed. As safety is restored, the body no longer needs to react defensively. What once triggered panic now invites presence. What once caused anger now reveals clarity. As triggers heal, your identity shifts. You stop seeing yourself as someone who is easily affected or emotionally unstable. You begin to recognize your resilience. Each healed trigger becomes evidence of growth. You realize that your strength was not in avoiding pain, but in meeting it with awareness and compassion. This changes how you move through the world. You take risks, you express needs, you set boundaries without fear of losing yourself. Emotional freedom emerges when the present is no longer filtered through unresolved wounds. You respond to life as it is rather than as it once was. Relationships improve because you are no longer asking others to heal what only you can address. Communication becomes clearer because it's not driven by hidden fear or unspoken resentment. You become less reactive, more grounded, and more authentic. Personal power is not dominance or control over others. It is self-regulation, self-trust, and self-leadership. When triggers no longer run your behavior, you make decisions from intention instead of impulse. You choose responses that align with your values rather than your pain. This power feels calm, steady, and rooted. It does not need to prove itself because it is secure. Healing triggers does not mean they never appear again. It means when they do, they no longer hijack you. You notice them sooner, understand them faster, and move through them with greater ease. Each time this happens, your confidence deepens. You trust yourself to handle whatever arises. In this way, triggers become milestones of transformation. What once felt like a weakness becomes a source of wisdom. The pain that once controlled you becomes the path that freed you. Emotional freedom is not the absence of feeling, it is the ability to feel fully without losing your center, and this is what true inner power looks like in action. If this message spoke to you, don't let it end here. Use the next trigger as your turning point. The next time you feel that familiar surge, pause, breathe, and choose awareness over reaction. Instead of pushing the feeling away, listen to it, ask what it is trying to teach you, and take one conscious step toward healing. Commit today to doing the inner work that frees you rather than repeating the pain that traps you. Share this message with someone who needs it and take responsibility for your emotional growth, because the moment you stop letting triggers control you is the moment you step into your true power and emotional freedom.